Hey everyone, welcome back. Tonight, we're drifting into one of those quiet, slow-burning dynastic disasters that historians pretend to analyze objectively while definitely judging everyone involved. So if you're settling in for bed, go ahead and dim the lights, fluff the pillows, and get comfortable. We're starting with House Verdon, a once respectable, moderately functional noble family, which is really saying something, considering medieval nobles routinely married their cousins and called it stability. House Verdon wasn't known for dramatic betrayals. They were known for something far less exciting: reliability. And yes, that's about to go terribly wrong. Let's float into this mess. A calm tribunal, or what they hoped for. At the soft turn of the candle mark, or what we might call midnight, the great hall of Verdun Keep filled with a rising, humid tension that felt entirely too heavy for a room decorated with embroidered lions trying their best to look intimidating. At the center of the hall was Lady Helena of Verdun, though everyone simply called her Haley, because she said ancient names felt itchy. She stood beside Sir Marcus of Eastmoor, consort to her elder sister, the quiet lady of Verdun, our narrator. Marcus wore the smug half-smile common among minor nobles who married up and then realized they enjoyed climbing more than committing. Together, Haley and Marcus stood before the tribunal of House Verdun, making a proclamation that would have made even the Habsburgs say, "Okay, that's a bit much." They demanded the tribunal force the quiet lady, their own daughter and lawful wife, to either provide financial tribute for the child of Haley and Marcus, or to step aside entirely. Which, bold. But then again, nobles have been doing bold and stupid things since the dawn of thrones. The family was watching too. The parents sat on the high bench, already leaning toward Haley with the eager sympathy of people who loved emotional theatrics and strongly preferred the daughter who excelled in crying publicly over the one who excelled in holding her life together. Everyone expected the quiet lady to crumble. She had always been the steady one, predictable, organized, the person who made sure the granary didn't burn down because someone forgot candles existed. And of course, when someone is steady, families tend to assume they'll be steady forever, as in, she'll hold her emotions, her responsibilities, her dignity, and apparently even other people's consequences. Haley, meanwhile, was known for what we might call weaponized fragility, the kind that made every family gathering feel like silently tiptoeing around a pressure-sensitive floorboard, praying nothing set her off. When she cried, it was an event. When she smiled, it was suspicious. And when she stood in this tribunal, chin up, hand resting delicately on her stomach, she knew she had the room in the palm of her hand. Except the quiet lady didn't break. She simply smiled, slowly, calmly. And that, for once, made everyone else nervous. To understand how House Verdun reached this point, we float back a little. The quiet lady wasn't literally quiet. She just wasn't extra. In a noble family accustomed to dramatics, she preferred order. She liked plans, schedules, predictability. The sort of woman who would check the household accounts twice, not because she didn't trust them, but because she trusted numbers more than people. Her work as master of operations for the Verdun estates required calm consistency. counting grain, negotiating trade caravans, and generally making sure the keep didn't descend into chaos. Her parents interpreted this as proof that she didn't need support. Haley, on the other hand, needed support the way a fish needs water, or at least pretended to. Haley learned early that a strategic tier could get her out of almost anything, and her parents, fueled by a mix of guilt and favoritism, enabled it with the dedication of people who believed emotional turbulence was a medical condition requiring constant attention. Through childhood, adolescence, and adulthood, the quiet lady was the one picking up the pieces. When Haley broke the family carriage wheel, the quiet lady handled it. When Haley forgot to pay her servants, the quiet lady apologized. When Haley lost a courtship prospect due to excessive dramatics, their mother declared the suitor unworthy, and the quiet lady quietly repaired the family's reputation. So really, this was less a scandal and more an inevitability. Enter Marcus, a man who loved stability until it bored him. Sir Marcus arrived years later, charming, polite, solidly handsome in the bland way that made him appealing to parents but suspiciously agreeable to daughters. He admired the quiet lady's poise. He said he grounded him. He said he'd never known someone so steady, so gentle, so composed. And naturally, he eventually weaponized all of it. Because in noble marriages, love is optional, but usefulness is mandatory. And being the calm one only works until someone decides calmness looks like emotional emptiness. Marcus liked excitement. He liked being needed. He liked being praised as the hero helping someone distressed. Haley was conveniently always distressed. At first, the quiet lady brushed off their growing closeness. Haley was dramatic, Marcus was polite. Their interactions seemed harmless, but subtle signs accumulated. A shared laugh too prolonged, a hand on Haley's shoulder lingering one heartbeat too long. Excuses crafted with the delicacy of lies told by people who truly believed no one would check. And it helped that the parents adored Marcus, the dutiful son-in-law who protected Haley from her own emotions. The parents even commented, gently, that perhaps Marcus brought out Haley's softness in a way the quiet lady's stability never could, which is noble parent code for, "We think your husband likes your sister more than you." But of course, they never said it directly. Nobles rarely do. The pregnancy that broke the illusion. Haley's pregnancy announcement happened during what was supposed to be a normal family gathering, which for House Verdon meant mild tension and a 40% chance of tears. She stood up, dabbed the corners of her eyes with a lace cloth, and whispered dramatically that she was with child. Their mother gasped and immediately rushed to embrace her. Their father offered blessings, already thinking about inheritance lines, and acting as though Haley was single-handedly saving the dynasty. The quiet lady wasn't even seated near them. Haley had made sure of that. Marcus stood behind Haley, placing a protective hand on her shoulder. It was all very touching if you weren't the lawful wife watching your husband protect another woman's belly. But the worst part was the silence. Nobody asked the quiet lady what she felt. Nobody turned to her. Nobody seemed to think she was relevant. She realized then that the betrayal hadn't started with a romantic affair. It had started much earlier. In every moment, her family had chosen the easier narrative over the true one. Haley cried. Marcus comforted. The parents forgave. And the quiet lady disappeared into the background, replaced by rumors that she was distant, difficult, or emotionally cold. Just like that, the steady one became the problem. When the family decided reality was optional. After the announcement, the manipulation escalated quickly. Marcus began hinting to the parents that the quiet lady was overwhelmed with her duties, that she was shutting down, that she might not be suitable for household leadership anymore. Haley supplied complimentary narratives. "Oh, she's just not coping," and "I think she needs rest," and the always popular, "I worry about her so much." To the parents, these lies were soft, comforting explanations. It allowed them to remain loyal to the daughter who needed them the most, or so they believed. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Marcus frequently visited Haley's quarters at odd hours under the guise of checking on her well-being. The servants whispered. The neighbor across the courtyard noticed. Everyone noticed, except apparently the parents, who had mastered the noble tradition of ignoring any truth they found inconvenient. Then came the final blow. A summons for a formal tribunal demanding that the quiet lady contribute financially to the child conceived by her sister and her husband. Technically, they framed it as protecting the lineage of House Warden. Realistically, it was absurd. And still, the quiet lady's parents encouraged it. They said she was the stable one, financially capable, strong enough to bear the burden. Haley even delivered her now infamous ultimatum. You can either help or step aside, which is the medieval equivalent of make yourself useful or get out of the way. And yet, the quiet lady didn't cry. She didn't fight. She didn't rage. She simply felt something in her shift. A quiet, cold, grounded resolve. This wasn't a defeat. It was a beginning. The moment silence became strategy. She left their keep that day in a fog of grief. Not loud grief, not the operatic grief Haley preferred, but a deep internal collapse. The kind you feel in your ribcage like something familiar has quietly cracked. She wasn't losing her family. She was realizing they'd never actually been hers. When she returned to her chambers, she began to think differently. Not emotionally, but mechanically, strategically, like a steward preparing for winter. If they wanted to turn her life into a false chronicle, she would write a more accurate one. She gathered documents, letters, household logs, visitor rosters, guard reports, even friendly testimony from that neighbor who had, with pointed eyebrow raises, witnessed Marcus's nightly visits to Haley's door. She built a timeline, a meticulous, undeniable one. It was the kind of timeline only the steady one could create. Too organized to ignore, too detailed to discredit.